He was a smooth-talking playboy who used his charm and a new job in pharmaceutical sales to get any woman he wanted. But the moment he meets this beautiful young woman who is battling Parkinson's disease, everything changes. And for the first time, he realizes his wild days might finally be over. But the question is, will she actually be able to tame him?
Okay, it's it. You know what? Just breathe.
Jamie Randall is a talented salesman at an appliance store who is known for his ability to sell just about anything. Customers love him, and as he works, Jamie often flirts with his colleague, Christy, much to the displeasure of her boyfriend, Jerry. One day during a break, Jamie and Christy sneak into the warehouse for an intimate moment. However, Christy's phone accidentally dials Jerry, who overhears their interaction. This enrages him as he storms into the warehouse and causes a scene, but Jamie manages to escape. However, just as he exits the building, Jamie notices another beautiful girl named Amber in the store. Unable to let the opportunity pass, he hands her his business card, as he is eager to move on and meet someone new. That evening, as Jamie has dinner with his family, their conversation revolves around work, and this bores him especially after his parents congratulate his brother, Josh, on his new job. When Josh's girlfriend inquires about Jamie's work, their mother proudly mentions that Jamie is skilled with technology. Josh, however, reveals to everyone that Jamie has just been fired, and he even teases him about it. But Jamie eventually assures the family that he's trying to figure things out, while Josh encourages him to consider pharmaceuticals, which he says is a more profitable career path. After dinner, the brothers sit outside on the porch to talk. But Jamie soon receives a call from another girl, and that is when Josh jokes that if Jamie could make money off his interactions with women, he would be rich. Thinking of this, Jamie decides to take his brother's advice and attend a training session at a pharmaceutical company, Pfizer. The female rep on stage talks about the lucrative opportunities in selling medications, and Jamie is inspired. He becomes determined to be the best in the group and trains diligently, even at home. His efforts impress the course leader, who takes notice of him, and they even spend some intimate time together. Upon completing his training, Jamie heads to Ohio for his first assignment, where he meets Bruce Jackson, the local manager. Bruce emphasizes that the primary goal of a consultant is to make money. So, in his first encounter, despite the pouring rain, Jamie attempts to engage with doctors near the local hospital, but they all ignore him. The two men then decide to grab coffee, where Bruce spots a blonde woman and eventually fails in his attempts to flirt with her. However, Jamie offers to share some flirting strategies with Bruce if he gives him some sales tips in return. Eventually, the two arrive at a clinic where they see Trey Hannigan, who is a very popular and charming local pharmaceutical rep. They watch as Trey immediately uses his charms to easily gain access into the clinic despite the fact that the two have been waiting their turn for a long time. So, Jamie learns from this, and when he goes to another hospital, he uses his own charms on the receptionist as he eventually gains access to display his medication samples in a prominent spot. But as he sets up his samples, he sees one of the doctors walk by, and it is obvious that he is clearly unimpressed to see him there. However, Jamie manages to hide his competitor's medication in his suitcase just before Cindy, the receptionist, asks him to leave. Meanwhile, a homeless man observes as Jamie discards packs of the medications into the trash. And after he leaves, the man quickly takes advantage and retrieves the packs for himself. The following day, Jamie returns to the clinic with flowers for Cindy and her assistant, as he even uses his charms to lure Cindy. And as he continues, Jamie starts developing his own strategy for introducing his company's drugs into the clinic's lockers, as he uses his charm on the secretaries to gain access. Meanwhile, the homeless man continues to collect the discarded drugs that Jamie throws away. While on the clinic elevator one day, Jamie runs into a blonde woman called Lisa, but when he tries to flirt with her, she tells him that she is not interested in him and that she prefers to date doctors. Later on, as Bruce has lunch with Jamie, he expresses disappointment in Jamie's performance as he advises him to make attempts to build a relationship with Dr. Stan Knight, who is a close friend of Trey Hannigan. Jamie eventually meets Dr. Knight one day after his clinic and offers him money in exchange for observing his daily routine at the clinic. Though hesitant at first, the doctor eventually agrees. The next day, as Jamie observes Dr. Knight's consultations, a patient named Maggie tells the doctor that her medication for Parkinson's was stolen. When Stan writes her a new prescription, Jamie seizes the opportunity to recommend a drug from his company. During the consultation, Maggie reveals she has early-onset Parkinson's and shows concern about a strange pimple on her chest. And as the doctor examines Maggie, Jamie takes a special interest in the case. At the end of the clinic, as Jamie is unloading medications from his car, Maggie approaches him in anger as she had found out that Jamie was only a pharmaceutical rep and not an intern, and this infuriated her. But despite the obvious tension, Jamie awkwardly offers to take her out for coffee. But instead of responding, Maggie snaps a photo of him and leaves. Later that evening, we see that Jamie is on the phone with Cindy as the two discuss plans to go clubbing, although Cindy feels embarrassed about having this type of conversation. But Jamie's true intentions for calling are revealed when Jamie tries to get Maggie's phone number through Cindy, who reluctantly agrees to share the contact with him, even though it was against their policy. Moments later, Josh interrupts his call as he bursts into the room to share that his girlfriend has kicked him out for watching adult movies. After calming Josh down, Jamie eventually calls Maggie and asks her out. The two eventually meet at the cafe where Maggie works, and to Jamie's surprise, Maggie suggests they have a casual fling after she admits she finds him attractive. So, the two begin an intimate relationship, getting to know each other better, and even engaging in their exploration in casual places, like once in an alley and later in a cafe. One night, Maggie surprises Jamie with a late-night visit only to realize too late that Josh was in the house. In the end, Maggie stayed over and Jamie eventually told her stories about himself. The next morning, Jamie is confronted by Trey Hannigan while he was disposing of the other rep's drugs as usual. Trey sternly warns him about throwing his drug samples away and to stay away from Maggie. As Trey leaves, the homeless man eventually tells Jamie that the medications that he's been trashing have helped him a lot and that he is even on his way for an interview. This lifted Jamie's spirit, as he now knows that his actions have helped someone in need. Meanwhile, back at the clinic, the women begin acting coldly toward Jamie after Cindy discovers his affair with Maggie. They denied him access to the sample room, and he was forced to leave. That evening, Jamie decided to get food and go to Maggie's, and while they ate and talked, Maggie started to grow anxious, as she expressed fear that their fling might turn into something more serious. After this, she tries to distract him, but Jamie wouldn't let her as he wants her to clarify her previous relationship with Trey. Maggie says that he is just an ex-boyfriend, and she eventually brushes the topic off. Despite the tension that later builds up in the room, Maggie tries to make Jamie feel better, and they enjoy a fun evening together, during which Maggie tells Jamie about a new medication she heard Pfizer was working on. Although Jamie was not aware of the details, he made a mental note to find out more about the drug, and he spent the night with her. But by morning, as Jamie prepares for work, we see that Maggie is struggling to open a biscuit due to her worsening symptoms. Although she successfully hides this, she asks him not to call her anymore as he leaves the house. That evening, as Bruce drives Jamie and his brother home, Bruce continues to scold Jamie for his low number of orders. However, Jamie asks Bruce about the new pill, but Bruce questions Jamie's competence and whether he can be trusted with the drug, as it is a new drug being developed to improve sexual performance. Jamie instantly grew interested and asked Bruce who else would be suited to market the drug if not himself. Later on, Jamie, Josh, and Bruce meet Trey and Dr. Knight at a bar, and as he approaches them to say hello, the conversation quickly turns to Maggie, and this makes Trey agitated and aggressive once more. After Trey eventually leaves, Jamie tries to lighten the mood by suggesting that Stan meet some women at the bar, some to whom he introduced the doctor. When he returns home, Jamie realizes that he missed Maggie as he starts to feel lonely. But in his mind, he knows that she is not interested in him and that she is trying to pull away from him. Josh eventually notices his quiet mood as he teases him that he is finally catching feelings for a woman. Days later, Jamie sees that Maggie is going on a trip to Canada with a group of elderly people, and when he asked when she will return, she teased that she would never return. In the end, she eventually tells Jamie that she'd be returning the next day. So Jamie decides to stay at the parking lot throughout the night as he doesn't want to miss her return. And when Maggie eventually arrives the next morning, she is touched by his persistence, which softens her mood. They went home together, and they once again shared an intimate moment, as if to rekindle their early connection. Soon after, Bruce delivers a batch of the new pills that Jamie had requested, and Jamie begins actively promoting them. The pill gains popularity quickly, and soon Jamie is welcomed at clinics all over the city. So, one day, while Maggie congratulates him on his success, the couple decides to record their joyful moment using a video camera as they capture their playful intimacy, and afterward, they eventually acknowledge that their relationship is becoming more serious. So they decide to start spending more time together and cherish every moment. One evening, Maggie overhears Jamie proudly telling his mom about the special pill he's been selling. However, she is surprised that he was exaggerating his achievements, and that is when Jamie admits that he often tends to stretch the truth sometimes. This eventually made Maggie encourage him to focus on his positive traits instead. But when Jamie struggles to identify those traits in himself, Maggie steps in and speaks on his behalf, and this brings satisfaction to Jamie after hearing how she sees him. Later that night at a bar, Jamie shares stories about the pill with his new acquaintances, and even Lisa, the blonde woman from the elevator, after hearing his success story, tries to flirt with him. However, he instead introduces Lisa to Dr. Knight and returns home to Maggie. When he arrives and kisses Maggie, she notices that his heartbeat is fast, and she wondered if something was wrong with him. But Jamie reassures her that the cause is simple, and that it was because he had just told Maggie that he loves her, and that is the first time he has ever confessed his love to anyone. This made Maggie laugh before reassuring him that all is fine, as she calmed his anxiety down. When Jamie returns home, he unexpectedly finds his brother watching a video of him and Maggie playing on the TV. Jamie is disgusted at the sight as he sternly tells his brother how inappropriate it is, and even though Josh apologizes, Jamie is very unsettled about the situation. Meanwhile, Maggie's health begins to worsen, and that evening, she struggles to open a jar of her medication. And even after opening it, she unfortunately finds that she has run out of supply. At about the same time, Dr. Knight invites Jamie to a medical conference in Chicago, but Jamie is unsure about going. But when he visits Maggie that evening, Jamie learns that she has run out of her medication and that she's been unable to afford more. So, in order to control her frustration, she has turned to alcohol. Worried about her, Jamie watches as Maggie experiences a nervous breakdown. But despite all this, Jamie manages to calm her down, and the two eventually agree to travel together to the conference in Chicago. At the conference, Maggie meets a woman who invites her to another program holding nearby for people with the Parkinson. So, while Jamie meets with medical representatives, Maggie listens to other people's stories. And after listening for a while, Maggie decides to invite Jamie over so that he can also hear people talking about her condition. But as he steps out during a break, Jamie meets a man who shares his experience of living with his wife, who also has Parkinson's. As they talk, the man advises Jamie that it'd be better for him to consider finding a healthy partner since he is still young. After the event, Maggie feels uplifted and eventually confesses her love for Jamie, and at that moment, Jamie's mind is made up to find all the help he can for Maggie. So, he went into research on modern treatments for Maggie's condition. He even consults Dr. Knight for recommendations as he continues to do everything he can to prolong their happy time together. However, Maggie starts to notice that Jamie is becoming too fixated on her illness. Overwhelmed by his intense focus on her health, Maggie decides to end their relationship. That evening, she forces Jamie to pack his belongings into his car, and although he makes one last attempt to convince Maggie to stay with him, she remains resolute in her decision. And in the end, both were heartbroken over how things had turned out. Shortly after, Stan calls Jamie and asks him to deliver his pills to Lisa's pajama party. Although Jamie isn't in the mood to socialize, Josh takes charge and insists that they attend. At the party, Jamie listens to Dr. Knight's confession about his struggles, but their conversation is interrupted by Lisa, who pulls Jamie away to introduce him to her friends. And as they leave, Jamie quickly realizes that the situation might lead to more than just a conversation as Lisa slips some of the pills into Jamie's mouth. But after the party, Jamie wakes up with strange sensations and is forced to go to the hospital. In his hurry, Jamie interrupts Josh's fun with one of the girls, and although he later tells Jamie that he would have preferred to stay back longer, Josh thanks his brother for supporting him after his separation from his girlfriend. They eventually arrive at the emergency room, and while waiting to be attended to, Jamie learns that he's been promoted as the news gave him some joy in this gloomy time. The next day, while Jamie arrives at a restaurant to celebrate his promotion with Bruce, he sees Maggie with another man, and they share a short introduction. And when Bruce arrived, he unknowingly announced Jamie's promotion, and although it surprised Maggie a little, she congratulated Jamie and then left with her new partner. But when it was time to leave for Chicago, Jamie accidentally finds the video clip he and Maggie had recorded together. The clip overwhelms him with a heartache and emotions as he drops everything and rushes to find her. However, when he reaches the store, Maggie's co-worker tells Jamie that Maggie is once again traveling to Canada with a group of seniors. After hearing the news, Jamie immediately races to catch up with the bus, and when he meets them, he shouts through the window that Maggie should give him a chance to talk. In the end, the group with Maggie eventually convinced her to listen to him, and when she finally agreed and stopped the bus, Jamie pulled her down and immediately confessed his love for her once more. He tells her that he wants them to be together forever, and although Maggie is still skeptical, Jamie's assuring words break her resistance, and the two eventually agree to give themselves a chance. And by the end of the movie, we see that Jamie now stays with Maggie, and that he has decided to pursue his career in medicine, as they have both found happiness in knowing that this is the right choice for both of them. And that is the recap of the movie, Love and Other Drugs. If you loved this video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and also leave a comment for us. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.